Hi friends, welcome back to This Homeschooling Naturopath. My name is Hannah and I'm a homeschooling mama of 3 little girls who are 9, 7, and 5. On this channel I share content related to homeschooling, homemaking, motherhood, as well as naturopathic info throughout some of our videos here. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. As per the title, I'm going to be taking you guys along to make an elderberry syrup for me and the kiddos. So if you're interested in seeing how I make elderberry syrup in our house, stay tuned. Alright, I'm starting out with some organic dried elderberries. Sambucus nigra is the most common species that you'll find of these beautiful little berries. The entire plant, including the flowers and bark that these little berries come from, has been used historically to cure a variety of ailments. But keep in mind that fresh elderberries, as well as the leaves of the elder plant, are actually toxic to both humans and animals, so I prefer to buy my berries dried. Next up here, I am adding in a half a cup of dried rose hips. Rose hips are incredibly high in vitamin C and antioxidants, which helps the body to fight off free radical damage. You could most definitely only use elderberries for this recipe, however I enjoy the combo of rose hips and elderberries together. I had them in my house, so I decided to add them in. Next up, I'm going to be adding a teaspoon of dried cloves, whole cloves, and the reason I'm adding cloves in is, first of all, for flavor, because cloves are delicious in elderberry syrup, but also for medicinal purposes because cloves are incredibly rich in manganese, which when we are sick, our bodies are trying to repair themselves really quickly, and manganese is actually an incredible mineral for helping the body repair itself. With those 3 ingredients in there, I then went ahead and I added about 5 cups of water, 5 to 6 cups I added in total for this syrup. Alright, and so with those 3 ingredients in, the waiting game begins. You're going to cook this on a very, very low heat. I initially started it off on about a 4, a medium heat, and then about a half an hour in, I turned it down to 2, which is a very low heat for my stove. You're going to cook this on a very low heat for a very long time. The whole process of making elderberry syrup takes anywhere from about 4 to 6 hours. Elderberries are incredibly rich in vitamin C, vitamin A, antioxidants which help fight off that free radical damage, bioflavonoids, and they've also been shown to be antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory. The documented use of elderberries as medicine dates right back to ancient Greece. However, they were likely being used as medicine long before it was ever documented. Alright, as you can see in the video here, my mixture is just about finished. That deep, dark elderberry color has really come through, and so I turned off the stove and I let it cool down for about an hour to an hour and a half before I did anything else with it. For this next part, I would have loved to have had a muslin cloth or something to strain the juice out a bit more effectively, but all I had today was a strainer, so this is what we're working with. Then you crush all of that beautiful juice out of there and watch as the beauty falls into your jug. Once I've gotten all the juice out that I can, I am just actually going to discard the rest of these berries here. I have in the past made jam with what was left over, but I didn't today. It was taking too long, and yeah. Then I did the rest of the pot here, squeezing out all of the juice that I could. Several scientific studies have shown the potent antiviral effects of elderberry on the human body. Clinical trials have tested the efficacy of elderberry syrup in the treatment of influenza and colds, and it was found to reduce both the duration and the symptoms effectively. Once I've got all of that beautiful juice out of the berries, I then pour it back into a lukewarm pot, again, low to medium heat, probably about a 3 here, and then you're adding in your honey. This particular honey that I'm using is from one of our homeschooling friends' beehives. Suzanne, thank you so much for this amazing honey. This is raw, pure honey straight from the hive. Honey serves several purposes in an elderberry syrup, the first one being that it is incredibly antifungal and antimicrobial. Honey acts as a preservative in your elderberry syrup, and that is the primary reason why it goes in. This is going to prevent your elderberry syrup from getting moldy, and it's going to make it last longer in your fridge. Along with it acting as a preservative, honey also has some incredible medicinal benefits, particularly when it's in its raw form like this. The next thing I'm adding in here is ground cinnamon powder. I normally would add cinnamon quills, and I would have added them at the beginning, but unfortunately I didn't have any, so the dried powder had to do. To be honest, this is probably just for flavoring at this point. I don't think there's much medicinal benefit coming out of my tiny bit of cinnamon powder, but the intention was there. And then next up here I added some ginger powder. Again, if I had some fresh ginger, I would have added that in at the beginning. Ginger and cinnamon go right along with everything else in this elderberry syrup. Cinnamon and ginger are two spices that have been used by our ancestors for millennia, and of course they have some incredible medicinal benefits. My elderberry syrup is now complete. I'm going to funnel it into its beautiful little jar here, and then I'll leave it on the countertop until it's completely cooled down. After that, it'll be stored in the fridge. This recipe made about 1 cup. This jar fit almost exactly 1 cup in here, and I had a tiny bit left over, which was the perfect amount, you'll see in a minute, to make myself a big hot cup of tea. You can add a few teaspoons of this elderberry syrup to hot water to turn it into a beautiful tea, cold water to turn it into a juice, or you can take it straight off of a spoon. I like to keep elderberry syrup as just a medicine for when we are unwell. I personally don't use it all of the time. I like to keep it exclusively as a medicine. When we are sick, our dosing is as follows. For adults, the dose is 1 tablespoon 3 times a day, and for kids who are my kids' ages, 1 teaspoon 3 times a day. Alright you guys, that is going to be it from me. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!